What's going on, everybody, man? It's your boy El Profe, Streets of Professor. You already know what time it is. The green button is hit, the red button is lit, and you are on one of the dopest, illest podcasts out here representing State 48. Today we got a very special interview. You see him everywhere. You see him all over social media. Not only that, but you can catch him at all the cannabis shows, doing his thing behind the cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together for our guest of honor today. Grownomics is in the building. Yeah. It's an honor to have you on the program. Like I said, we met about a year and a half ago almost, you know.
Yep.
We got to meet at a show out there in Tucson, Arizona. Big shout out to all my people out in Tucson, Arizona. And I've been wanting to work with you for quite some time. And now we have had the pleasure of, this will be our second, meetup that we get to work with each other. And it's a great honor to have you be part of the team. And not only that, but it's a great honor to be working with you, dog, especially with all that you do for the community, man. So I want to give you your flowers, too, for all that you do, dog.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Most definitely.
Sometimes I wonder if it's being seen or, recognized, but... Yeah, so I really do appreciate that because that's what makes me keep going.
Oh, hell yeah. So, that's what makes anybody keep going,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And a lot of people have been commenting on the videos that you did make for last week, and everybody enjoys them and has been a fan of it since day one. So
sweet.
Let's keep it going, dog. Let's keep the numbers rolling, dog.
Yep.
You guys want numbers? We got numbers. You guys want awards? We got award-winning people on the podcast, yo. And with that being said, man, Grownomics, go ahead and introduce yourself to the world. Give us a little bit about your background, kid. Go ahead and introduce yourselves to everybody, man.
What up, what up? My name is Mac Brickhandler, but a lot of you know me as Grownomics in the cannabis community. Originally from California, born and raised. I've been in Arizona for about 11 years now, and I don't think I'm going back. California will always be my home state, but Arizona is my new home now. Definitely enjoy doing what I do, and I'm just happy to be a part of this.
Hell yeah, dog. Well, welcome to AZ, even though you've been here for 11 years, you know what I mean? What part of Cali are you from?
Born and raised in San Diego.
Okay.
And then spent a lot of time in LA and Riverside County.
Orale. Big shout out to all my LA people out there, man.
Yes.
Mad love to you guys. Mad love to everybody out there, too, showing love in Cali, man. I love the fact that you say AZ is your home now. What brought you to AZ to begin with?
Well, I kind of wanted to go somewhere where nobody knew me at all and I can just completely restart everything. There was one day I just had enough. I had a breakdown. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. I don't even care if I don't have it figured out. I'm out of here.
Sometimes you need to hit the restart button, bro. You know what I mean? And changes are always good for everybody.
It is, but I will say, moving away doesn't take away your problems.
There it is.
But changing the scenery can help you get to that to where you can identify it and just heal a little bit. So.
I like what you said, you know what I mean? Because changes, you're right, does not change what the problems that you do have.
Yeah.
So, but you get to readjust somehow, and you get to get away from all the shit that you were, born into, or you were getting yourself into too as well.
Correct.
So that's crazy, dog. I'm glad that you touched base on that. That's really dope that you said that. So the weed community, dog. You are a big part of the weed community, dog.
Yes, sir.
So talk a little bit about it, man.
Well, I've always been, a pothead at heart, obviously. Growing up in California, that's just how it is out there. Everyone smokes. Even though my parents were very anti-weed, like very...
Old school, dog.
Oh, yeah, no. My mom wouldn't even let you on her property if you had a cigarette in your hand. Nothing. So it's interesting to see how I got involved in all this. I've always been, like I said, I've always been a huge pothead growing up in California. I didn't get into the, actually growing until I actually won a bunch of seeds on a live podcast, probably about 4 years ago.
That's dope.
So it was just random. I just gotten sober off of methamphetamines I was probably sober for about 8 months, so I was still kind of fresh or whatever, and I needed something to kind of keep my mind busy.
For sure.
And so I was just watching this live, entered, and I ended up being, the winner, won all these seeds. So I was like, okay, well, I got to grow them. Had no idea what I was doing. Didn't have anybody around me that already grew or anything. So I just kind of had to figure everything out myself. As soon as I started it, being that I love weed already, I kind of just fell in love watching the plant grow. It gave me a different perspective on everything. Now I look at all plants because I see how my plants grow, and it made me kind of appreciate every plant I see now.
The cycle that it does, you know, the start of it from putting it into the dirt, from it growing, that could be like something that you probably took into consideration, like, yo, okay, this is my rebirth right here, you know, it's starting to grow, and now I'm seeing it grow in the process that it's doing, in order for me to look at things a little bit differently. Like, now I see what change is all about, you know?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's dope, though.
Yeah, and change is good. I think change is scary to some people, but it's good, and you have to embrace it sometimes. I've been growing ever since then. I haven't stopped.
It's a science. We were talking a little bit about it, but how important is that science of growing?
Very important. I didn't realize how diverse growing is. So, you know, you think of growing, you're like, okay, yeah, you just get a seed, put it in there and grow it. You don't realize that you're going to become a bug expert, you're going to become a light expert. Like, there's so many things of soil biology. If you're doing like living soil or something like that, you got to learn how soil operates and mycelium, how it interacts with, you know, there is so much, and I didn't realize that diving into it. You know, you start doing stuff and stuff goes wrong, you're like, okay, well, why? And you start doing your homework and everything, and you're like, wow, there's a lot to this. There really is. I didn't realize, oh, you got to, you know, when I first started, I'm like, pH, what's that? You know what I mean?
Play a hater.
Yeah, what is all that? You know what I mean? And so it's there's definitely a lot to it, and I think that's kind of why I liked it. Because it made me want to learn. I'm like, well, I need to know, you know what I mean, exactly how this, you know, why and how, and so that's kind of why I like it too. It's because it is a challenge.
Educational, dog. You know what I mean? You got to get educated on everyday things, because every day it's changing. It's like medicine. And let me tell you something. Weed is medicine, guys. Yes. Okay? There's something that I do want to touch base before we move further, that you said that I recommend for everybody, even when it comes to breaking up, to staying off certain drugs, keeping your mind busy. How important is it to keep your mind busy?
I would say that's very, very, very important, because when your mind isn't busy, that's when it wanders.
Mental health, dog. Touch base on mental health, man.
Yes, mental health is very, very, very important too. And I think a lot of people, and especially being men, we kind of put that aside sometimes.
For sure, ego.
All the time. And so I always tell people too, you got to have you time too, or you got to have something that you feel good about. Like, you know, if it's a hobby or something you're passionate about, having something like that is, you know, is good for your mental health, and just good for everybody else around too, because if your mental health is great, you're going to see it all around you too.
Almost definitely.
And it's really important to surround yourself around people that have a good mental health state, because it will definitely help you. I think everyone should at least have something to keep that at a great level.
For sure. So educate us a little bit about the cannabis industry, bro.
Well, it's a great community. I'll start by saying that.
Big shout out to the community, yo.
Yes, a big shout out to the community, because without the community, I mean, I don't think it would be what it is today. For sure. And I am happy that it's not illegal anymore. Right. That was, you know what I mean? I feel like that's definitely helped a lot. You know, now we're able to grow at home and stuff. Sure. Before you couldn't. You know, before I had to worry if I had weed on me all the time. And I don't think that's right.
No, I get it, Doug.
You know what I mean? I don't think weed is for everybody. I will say that 100%.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I don't think it's for everybody. But I am glad that it's legal now, and we are able to legally grow at home, because, I mean, we're not out there causing chaos. You know what I mean? Just let us grow our plants.
That's it.
That's it. So we're
chill people, yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I'm glad to see where it's going. I'm big on home growing. I'd say there's only a couple dispensaries that I actually really, really like. I can say like, yeah, I like it. Yeah. And it's nothing personal. It's just, you know, I'm a home grower, so I'm used to my homegrown. I love my homegrown. Sure. It's just a little bit different.
Hell yeah.
So.
And we were touching base on that off air, you know, that it's so much different from the weeds, or from the marijuana and the cannabis in the dispensaries. And not to take away from any dispensaries, you know what I mean? Right. I respect what all you guys do, but it just has a different touch to it, has a different flavor to it, you know?
Yep, I agree. It's because I feel like, you know what you're putting in your plant. And like I said, no offense to the dispensaries too, but they're on mass production. So they need to get that out of there. Yeah, I don't know, something about the homegrown that I just absolutely love, and it's just completely different to me. Not only the taste, but the high, you know what I mean, I think it's more fresh, honestly. Something I've noticed too when I'm smoking homegrown is it's a lot more smooth. I can take huge hits and I'm not coughing my ass off. Super smooth because it's more fresh or what, but something about them homegrown terpenes are nice.
Right. Yo, Doc, I've always been a fan of the brick weed, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
I gotta say, some of that stuff hits harder than a lot of the stuff that is out there right now.
I used to not believe that until I moved out here. Because, you know, I'm from California. I mean, there's brick weed out there too,
Yeah.
but I was spoiled. I didn't know that till I moved here. I came here and they're like, oh yeah, brick weed or Christmas buds.
Christmas bud.
And at first I was like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody after work one day gave me a big old blunt of one and I smoked it and it got me high as fuck. I was like, okay, that's pretty nice, But there are still people, I still know people today that prefer that. And, you know,
I'm one of them, not for real.
Yeah, oh really? Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? There's totally nothing wrong with that. And I feel like the brick weed too is it's just different. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Definitely get pretty stoned off that too.
Oh, for sure. Grownomics is in the building. H.O.D.S. podcast. It's crazy how your mom was so anti, and this is where you ended up going into, you know. But it's funny how the old school generation was so frowned upon it, but yet they grew up on it. You know?
You know, I used to not understand why she used to think like that, or you know what I mean? I'm like, she thinks it gives you cancer, right, and like just horrible. But I had to look at, you know, the time frame that she grew up in, and look at how they were perceiving marijuana. You know, this is your brain on drugs, and right, like, you know, it's a devil's lettuce, and it's gonna, you know, turn your kid into a Satanist, and all this crazy stuff. You know, rock. You know, so I think it, you know, I didn't understand it for a long time. I'm like, how does she not, like, because we went through a lot of stuff growing up, and I got put on medication at a very young age.
Right.
And, you know, I had a lot of anger problems too growing up, and the only thing that would calm me down right away was marijuana. I didn't like taking the pills. I take a pill, I gotta wait 30 minutes for it to digest and kick in. You know, I'd be raging, and all of a sudden I smoke real quick, and I'm like, okay. But obviously I couldn't do that. Sure. So yeah, it was tough growing up, having parents like that. But you know, I understand now. It's just because, you know, how they grew up. So I didn't know that for a long time until I got a little bit older and I started really, you know, because still to this day my mom's like very like, no.
Yeah.
You know, she sees the passion behind it. For so sure. I think she's starting to kind of like be like, okay, but she's still very anti.
I think it's so great, like people like you and people in the weed community are starting to educate people out there more and more about the great things that it offers to everybody. Not only that, but you said you were taking pills at a certain point of your life, and pills are the worst things that you guys can take, whereas you switch that up to the cannabis, and that right there helps you out in totally different ways. How important was that change for you in your life?
It was very important, especially when I hit 18, because when I hit 18, then I can choose if I want to take these pills or not. I'm not being forced to take them. So as soon as I hit 18, I wasn't taking them anyways, but I just like, yeah, no more. So, and I felt a lot better. Once I got my own place, I knew I didn't have to stress about having to hide it or anything, and I felt like I could be me. Because when I smoked weed, I felt like, okay, this is me.
This is who I am.
Yeah, not that I'm not when I'm not, but like I feel like I can just relax and, you know what I mean, just be myself a little bit more.
That's what's up.
So it's definitely good. I feel like it's a more healthier alternative, because I'd have to go get my kidneys checked, you know, once a month when taking the pills and stuff. I mean, I guess the only bad thing with smoking weed is like obviously the smoke, right? You know, the tar from the smoke and stuff. But other than that, I mean, that's it. There's too many benefits. There's more benefits than there is not.
For sure. And the side effects ain't that compared to all the pills that you take, side effects ain't a thing. No, I definitely can't go pop a fucking Xanax and go drive a car. Right. Not saying that you should drive and smoke either, but I'm just saying it's not, definitely a better alternative, I think. Oh, I get it, Doc. I get it big time. So before you educate us on growing, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at.
You can find me mainly on Instagram and YouTube. My Instagram is Grownomics 2.0. Had to make a new page. My original one got shut down. My YouTube is just Grownomics. And yeah, that's where mainly you can see me active on.
So now educate us on the growing, Doc.
Oh man, what do you want to know? Because there's a lot.
Everything, Doc. Hit us up, man.
Oh man, I'll tell you, it's been, I feel like I'm still learning to this day. And
So you should.
Yes. And well, yeah. Well, because I think every grower's like, I want to just be good and find, you know, some growers find a routine and stick with that, and other people are trying new things constantly. And that's what's the beautiful thing about growing is there's so many different ways and styles of growing that you can try, and I think that's what makes it really cool too. I mean, you can grow in, you know, water, do hydroponics, you can be doing living soil, you can be in coco core like I am now. It's really just amazing. And you know, I didn't understand for a long time, just, you know, I talk to my plants sometimes.
You have to.
I know that sounds crazy.
No, I do too.
But like, they're like, Mom, I don't know what it is. I'm just like, hey, you know what I mean? It's just a beautiful thing. But yeah, diving into this, I had no idea how much I was gonna have to learn and do everything, but I enjoy it. And still to this day, I'm still learning new things. And I think that's why it's great having a great community for something like that, because humans learn off of each other.
For sure.
So, and that's why I was said earlier, always put yourself around people that are better than you, because you will learn and get better just like them. I just think it's a beautiful thing, especially being cannabis too. And so I feel like cannabis, when it first got introduced to the world, it didn't get a proper, you know what I mean? They were like, oh my God,
right,
smokes weed. You know, and nowadays it's like we're doing events, and it's like a normal thing, and it's like all walks of life that come for cannabis. It is, you know what I mean?
All ages. Bro.
All ages. You see all walks of life are in the cannabis scene.
And now it's cool to see everybody come out a little bit more too, because it's more accepted.
That's what I was getting at,
yeah.
Yes. It's almost like, because, you know, you see all these different people coming out now, you know. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's nice, and it just shows how big, you know, the cannabis community is. Not alone with just growers, but with, you know, your everyday person. Sure.
And the cool thing about it, guys, is that you don't have to smoke. There's other forms of cannabis for you guys where you don't have to be inhaling that. You can take it CBD style, you can take it liquid style, there's gummies. I mean, educate yourselves on the cannabis industry itself. And you guys will see that it's so beneficial to you in so many ways. But not only that, but it'll keep you from being that person that everybody thinks that you are.
Right,
you know?
Right. No, for sure. I mean, even RSO and stuff like that has great benefits. For like, you know, stopping seizures and stuff like that, which is very interesting. You know what I mean? So there's too many medical benefits to ignore.
For sure.
So
you said that there's a lot of things that you are getting educated on growing. So what techniques have you used to benefit your growth?
Well, before, when I would grow, I would just let the plant do its thing. Didn't know anything about training or topping. And I was like, wow, you can manipulate the way the plant grows and produce a lot more just from bending it. You know what I mean? Once I started learning how to train the plants and topping them and doing stuff like that, I fell in love even more, because I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I literally can just bend this plant over and it's going to produce more because light is hitting areas that it wasn't reaching before. Like, just little things like that. And I'm just like, wow, this is fucking amazing. And then, you know, like the soil biology too. Once I started understanding living soil and mycelium, how to interact, I was mind blown when I first found out about living soil and mycelium. Once I started learning about stuff like that, it just blew my mind, and it just made me kind of respect it a little bit more and everything. And I don't think I'll ever stop growing, to be honest.
That's what's up.
I love it way too much now. I don't think I'll ever stop.
That's what's up.
So
it's crazy. So how many plants can you grow at your home?
Well, you can have 6, but if you have another adult in the house, you can have 12, but that's it.
Yeah.
No more than 12. Now, I'm sure if you had 12 and then two mother plants that you're taking clones off or something, because technically they're not in flower,
yeah,
you could probably get away with it, but 12 is the limit, which
It's plenty.
It's plenty.
Oh yeah.
Didn't say how big they can be.
Right.
No, I think you're limited on how much you can harvest too. I think it's 3 or 4 pounds you can have, something like that. Autoflowers will automatically go into flower and do their thing. But nutrients, you got to understand, there's so much to it. I can sit here and try and like help somebody as much as I can online, like talking and everything, but hand-on-hand experience is going to be a huge part of it as well, and educational videos are important too.
Now, what advice would you kick down to them?
Don't overthink it. I think a lot of first-time growers overthink it. They overwater, they overthink it, they think, oh, don't overthink it. I see that all the time. Don't overthink it. Definitely don't.
You know, it's so funny how you said that you talk to your plants. My grandma would always talk to her plants, and she's a plant person, they had plants all over the place, Mexican grandmas, all full of everything. But I took that into consideration with all my plants, because I'm a plant guy too, and it really helps. It really shows that you care about the plant that you're talking to, and it really gives you some kind of nutrients.
Oh, it does.
It gives it some kind of love where it's like, all right, you're going to give me love? Guess what? I'm going to give you love back.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've seen, they've actually ran tests on plants with that, where they played like positive music or said great things, and then one person was just talking crazy and then the plant died. So, that stuff like that is what makes, and being a home grower, I really believe my plants, they are alive, but they're alive with me as well. Like, I feel like they can hear my vibrations, they know who I am, I know that sounds crazy, but you know what I mean?
It's a thing, though.
It is. I'm in there. It's like, hello, beautiful.
Right? And they are. My grandma said the same thing. I don't grow it because I smoke it. I grow it because it's a beautiful plant.
Yes.
And I get it. I totally see it. The colors that it has, the sparkle that it has, and what it produces is just amazing.
It's amazing. It really is. I think there are some people that do grow it just to smoke it. But I think even if you go into the mentality of that, when you start growing, I think you're going to fall in love with growing of the plant versus smoking it once you get into it. Because how can you not?
Right? You got to see what you're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to feel what you're doing at the same time. So how important is it? I always say to everybody that comes on the show that's part of the community, how important is it to get educated?
Very important, because if you're educated in the wrong way, it could just waste your time a lot until you find out later. So educating yourself is very, very important, but I feel like a lot of people want things fast and they want it now. So growing cannabis is not something that you learn overnight. It's not something you learn in a week or a month. This is something that takes time. So educating yourself over time is very, very important. So if you do choose, if you're someone like me who loves educating yourself, you need to realize that it is going to take some time, and over time, it's going to, as long as you're persistent and, with it is, you can only get better and see results or something. I would always post pictures of my plants on Facebook and stuff like that, and then that was it. I wasn't really on Instagram a whole lot with the growing or anything. I was part of like these Facebook groups, growing groups, and I had met this girl, Bree, Flower Child, shout out to Flower Child. She was like, hey, you should, come over to Instagram and give Instagram a shot. We got a good community over there. And I was like, yeah, I'll try it or whatever. And I went over to Instagram and I seen how everyone was with their plants. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, there's people making their own videos talking about stuff and helping each other. I seen how everyone was like, oh, sending each other things, helping each other. So it made me realize, oh, okay, I could probably do this too. It wasn't until I started making videos on my phone that I realized that I might want to get a camera and start doing this a little bit better, because I liked how things were coming out on the phone. I was like, man, I know I got better ideas, and I want to try and get a camera and see if I can figure it out. But I didn't have anybody that could show me, so I had to kind of figure everything out myself.
Of course.
So, but yeah, it started with being brought over on Instagram from Flower Child. And she kind of introduced me to the community there, and it kind of just took off from there. I kind of seen how everybody did their videos. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Once I felt like I learned a little bit, I can kind of try and because I don't want to give information if I just learned it, if I really don't know. So yeah, once I felt like I knew something or a little bit, that's when I was like, well, let me see if I can make it. You know what I mean? Because I've always wanted myself on the camera. I was filming everyone. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, but I'm not in it. I was like, I would like to try and do one of me in it and see how it goes.
Your work is being well observed around the community, around the valley, and amongst everybody out there. And events around the valley with the cannabis industry, how do you see all the events that are coming out more and more on a yearly basis?
I love it. It's almost getting to the point where it's like, I gotta write down all these events because I forget. There's so many going on. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I missed that one. Crap. Yeah, that's how it be. And especially the more involved you start getting, you start meeting more people, networking. You know, that's where more events and more things start coming together. So yeah, I love seeing it. I love seeing it come together, and I think that it's slowly getting bigger and bigger. It's not like exploding, but it's slowly getting there.
Yeah.
So
you touched down on a key word that we like to bring up in this podcast. It's called networking. How big and how key is networking, Grownomics?
It is a key player. Super important. If you don't network or know how to network, well, be willing to accept to stay where you're at.
For sure.
Networking is very important. That's how you meet people. That's how you make new connections. That's how things start happening. So, super important.
AZ Cannabis Awards, you were able to walk out with 2, not 1, but 2 awards. Second place?
I had gotten second place for social media influencer, and I was like, yeah, cool. And then I was talking with my boys at Simpro at their booth, and I hear my name get called again for educational speaker, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, did they just call my name? I had to walk up there. I'm like, hey, did you say Grownomics? They're like, yeah. That's me. Like, oh yeah, here, congrats. I was like, oh, cool. So that was pretty cool. So because I definitely like, even if they're just short videos, people know on Instagram, sometimes I make videos. I just did one the other day, talking about, just keep that mentality, stay positive and stuff like that. So and it's very important because I feel like everyone deep down inside does feel like that. And sometimes you need to hear that or see it from somebody else. You're like, okay, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. So.
How dope was that?
That was cool. That was cool for sure. I was actually kind of shocked at first. I was like, me? But you know what? You can't be like that. You got to just embrace it and accept it and acknowledge what you've done and just keep going.
Hell yeah.
So
you got to, die. And it's really important too as well to take credit, because a lot of us don't take credit a lot of the time. We're like, nah, it's all right, whatever. I don't accept it.
Yes, and that's how I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to accept things or like take compliments and stuff like that. So, but once you step out of that element and you're able to, get that I don't want to say well, part of it is confidence, but once you're able to step out that box, because your biggest barrier is you. Let me tell you that. I didn't realize that. It's all a head game up in here when it comes to, being able to set yourself free and do things. I mean, I didn't realize it until I started doing things. I'm like, wow, my biggest barrier was me.
That's it.
And all I had to do was step out of that barrier and just go for it.
That's it.
So, just do it.
And it's okay to pat your own self on the back,
Yes, absolutely. You need to every once in a while. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you love everything else?
Exactly, dog. You got to love yourself before you move forward, yo.
Absolutely. Because if you don't, it will show.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. So a lot of events that are happening now here in Phoenix, we touch base. But you've also been a part of events down in Tucson, Arizona. So touch base a little bit about Tucson, too, as well, how they have welcomed you into their community.
Oh, they welcomed me in with arms open. I loved it. Tucson was great. I actually really liked Tucson. It kind of reminded me of home a little bit. We had met at Stone Cafe, which I really liked. I was like, oh, this is a great place to do an event. You know what I mean? I met Norma and you and, a couple other people. So I actually met a few people that still talk to me to this day that met me from there. So that was really cool. I haven't gone to a whole lot of events out there. That was the first one I went to, my introduction to Tucson, which was cool because before I got to the event, seen some lowriders or whatever, and I was like, hey, hit the switch. And I was like, oh man, okay, I like this place. And then I realized that night was popping. I was like, damn, everybody's out at the club. I was like, I didn't even know it was active like this. So I got taken downtown or whatever. I wasn't even sure where I was, but I seen everybody. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know Tucson was like this. Right on. And then the nutrients I use, Simply Professional, formula, they're based out of Tucson too. So, Tucson definitely is is a good spot for me. I just wish it wasn't so far away. But you know what? The drive wasn't that, it didn't seem that bad. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like it took me that long to get there. But yeah, I feel like there's more events out here, obviously.
Most definitely.
But Tucson definitely is getting there for sure.
Yeah, big shout out to the Tucson community out there. Big shout out to all the people out there in Tucson too as well, holding it down. There's a lot of events out there to tap in with the Tucson scene. Guys, the best way to know about what's going on in town is just ask a local, man.
Yep, exactly.
Very important.
Yep. This is the birthplace of Grownomics now.
Hell yeah.
This is where I had my son now. So my roots are now officially not only in my pots at home, but they are here in Arizona.
I'll touch base a little bit about some events that you have participated in out here and how all those people, like, say, for instance, Trap Culture, big shout out to Trap Culture.
Yes.
They're throwing a lot of huge events out here, too, as well. Touch base on all these events that have been going on around the valley.
Oh, man, Trap Culture, yes. Big shout out to Trap Culture. They've always been really nice to me and definitely my type of people and everything. I forgot how I met them. Honestly, my buddy Sam the Dab Man, big shout out to him. He's been getting me in a lot of events and introducing me to a lot of people. I think I went to the Buds and Bikinis and did like a video or whatever, and Trap Culture like shared it or something like that. And then I met the owner, and then my buddy Sam knew who they were. I started seeing them at other events, and then I seen the events that they throw were pretty good, and I was like, damn, okay, all right. So yeah, definitely good friends with Trap Culture, and I mean, other people too, Toasted, all of them. They're all great people, and I definitely like the way that they throw the events, as long as it's not hot. Like the Buds and Bikini event was a little warm, but I still had a blast. It was great. But the events are pretty good, I will say. I definitely enjoy them. I don't get out of the house much, but if it is, I'm usually going to an event or I'm filming or something.
For sure.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's definitely good. And like I said, I think it's growing. Yeah.
Grownomics.
Grownomics.
How did that name come to be, Doc?
Oh man, that's a good question. You know, it's once I started growing, like I said, when I won those seeds, I realized online everyone kind of had their own name for something. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just had my name, Mac Brick Handler, which was cool. You know, it's a cool name, but I was like, man, I kind of want to have like a name or something that represents what I'm doing. Sure. And I was just sitting there one day, I'm like, I can't think of anything. Just going, and my son's mother actually kind of brought it up, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of said it a few times, Grownomics. I'm like, that sounds more like scientific or something, like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. And then I kind of just went with it. I think I made something that said that and posted it, and then it just kind of went with. And then once people started calling me that, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's it. I heard somebody for the first time. The first time I heard somebody, hey, grow or nomics or hey, Grownomics. I was like, what? Okay, yeah, it's official. But yeah, I just wanted something that kind of, because I like the science behind it. That's where the nomics kind of comes in. Because I wanted something that kind of like flowed, but was like, you know, so the grow is, you know, Grownomics. So just a little science behind it, because I enjoy the science behind it.
Hey.
But no, it's nice. It's nice to be doing something that's, you know, not frowned upon and something that I'm passionate about. And it's nice to see other people recognize it and other people maybe get motivated by it. So I think that almost in return, you can't put a price on that.
Hell no.
So,
and like I said, you're an award-winning guy out here, dog. So that right there just gives you more power behind all that you're doing.
Yes, definitely. And I love seeing other people come to the table and learn as well. So I love teaching people too. So, but growing, yeah, it's a hands-on thing too. You know what I mean? You gotta mess up in order to learn sometimes, and you gotta do things hands-on to really, you know, learn and stuff. So. For sure.
CC says, and CC says it like this: sometimes you just gotta say fuck it and smoke a big ass joint, dog.
Yes, I agree. You get a little bit of fuck it in you, and everything will be all right.
Right? That's what it's all about, man. You know, you guys gotta understand. We do not ask you guys to smoke and go drive, you know, but this is a lot more safer than it is drinking.
It is,
and it's more beneficial for you too in a way. More calm, more chill too as well, and it'll help you out. You know, big shout out to Dr. Drew Watley, and Dr. Drew Watley has seen the benefits of cannabis, where if you guys are smoking, we can still get you a therapy session too as well while you guys smoke as well.
I think that's not a bad idea. I don't know why I never thought about that. That is a great thing. I mean, that might help somebody even relax and open up more and really get into what they want to talk about.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, if you're already a smoker, you know that when you're at home, relaxed, comfortable, and you're smoking, you know, you're good. You should be able to do that when you want to be able to open up about stuff too.
Exactly.
So, yeah, no, that's great. I didn't know that they even thought about doing that.
He's one of the ones, dog, and he's part of the team too. So that's what I'm saying. It's great to see that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Usually people are like, nah, here, go to the doctor or to a therapy session, and they hand them a prescription. Back to the pills again. This guy is offering you guys, while you guys are getting that therapy, a smoke session.
Right.
You get to be relaxed. You get to be state of mind and just chill. So 2025, what do we expect from you in 2025, Doc?
Ooh, expect some new growth when it comes to probably videos and growing. I'm really focusing, well, lately I've been focusing a lot more on my growing again. I've been doing a lot of the video for a while, so I started focusing on that, but I would say by the end of the year, you should see a couple more compliments by me. I don't know what they are yet, but I know I'm always doing something. There's something I want to learn, so I only want to get better at stuff. So just expect things to get a little bit better as far as videos and educating.
That's what's up. So you said you had a son?
Yes.
Yeah, so how important fatherhood to you, Doc?
Oh, man, very important. So I love my son. He'll be 4 next month.
That's what's up.
And to be honest with you, I didn't really want to be a dad, to be honest with you. But it happened, and it's opened my eyes up to a lot. But it's teaching me a lot. I think what it's teaching me is patience.
That's what's up.
So, because I don't have a lot of that sometimes. So it's definitely teaching me patience, and it's just a beautiful thing. You know, he's like a sponge, you know what I mean? And I love teaching and showing him stuff, but I also gotta, you know, and that's what I mean by it's teaching me stuff too, is I gotta watch everything I do now and everything. But great kid. I couldn't ask for, you know, a better, healthier son, especially during the time when he was born, because, you know, we just got clean. Our life was chaotic, so.
That's what's up, man. Big shout out to my son, Amani, man. Thank you for everything that you do, too, as well. And stay blessed out there. And as a father, dog, how important is it to give him that foundation that you are giving him?
Very, very, very important. I didn't have a great foundation growing up. I just know it's super important. Without any foundation, I mean, you're going to be all over the place. Foundation is a major key when it comes to children. You know, you have to have one. You have to, or else it's just going to be chaotic.
For sure.
You know what I mean? These kids, you only get one shot with them.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Once they're at a certain age, that's it. You know what I mean? They're going to be how they are, and it's going to be based off how they were raised.
For sure.
So it's very, very important how you build that foundation, and you got to realize, you got to look at what type of foundation you want. And, you know, and being a first-time dad, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not. And then, but I'm realizing I don't know if anybody really knows. You know, we're just doing, you know, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to as a dad, then you're okay. You know,
educate every day, Don.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. I'm always teaching him, showing him stuff. I want him to every day, because I want him to be able to grow up and I don't know, I want him to be the same way.
For sure, but better.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the part of the program that I am handing over to our guest of honor, Grownomics. If there's any last words that you like to give for everybody out there, dog, what would they be?
It would be to step out that comfort zone, motivate yourself, regardless of how it is, through others or, you know, influences, and don't stop, okay? And if you're a home grower like me, grow as much as you grow your plants, because once you grow as much as you grow your plants, everything is just beautiful. It just gets better and better. So Definitely educate yourself, motivate yourself, and don't stop. Just keep going. Be persistent.
Grownomics name. How important is growth, dog?
Very important, and you need to understand how it works.
Not only are we reaching out to the youth, but we're reaching out to the elder as well.
Oh yeah, super important, because I think a lot of people think that just, mainly young people smoke.
All these events that they have out there for you guys. Let me tell you something about these events. The money that you pay to get into these events are not nowhere near of what you're going to take home with you.
Yep.
Because you take home with you over $300 plus of goodies with you everywhere you go.
Yep. And you want to take home the experience.
Right?
So that's a big part too.
Hell yeah.
You get to go home with goodies, but you're going home with an experience as well.
And like I said, there's all types of people there.
yes, all walks of life. So that's why networking is important. You get all walks of people. There's always somebody there that has a value.
Hell yeah. Give out your final shout out so we can close the show, Kit.
Just want to give a big shout out to Simply Professional Formula. Big shout out to Sam, the dab man. Big shout out to my son's mother for being supportive and everything. And everybody, big shout out to the community. I gotta say, the Grow community. Huge shout out to the Grow community. I couldn't do any of this without you guys. You guys keep me going, and yeah.